Hi, friends. Merry Christmas, Happy Christmas, all the different Christmas blessings to you. I am outside today because it is gorgeous and it is green and it is beautiful and the birds are out and it doesn't quite feel like a white Christmas. Hopefully, we'll get some at some point here in Maine, but for now, I wanted to be outside because this is where I feel closest to the divine and spirituality. So, I am here to share with you some of the insights and things that I've learned about Christmas and how I feel connected to Christmas, even though I don't consider myself a Christian, because I thought it might be interesting to you. So here is some of what I've learned. So first of all, you may have heard me say in some of my other videos and content that Jesus wasn't actually born on December 25th. If you don't know that, now you do. So he was likely born on sometime between like spring and fall in either sometime between 6 and 4 BC. And there's a lot of different ideas about when Jesus was actually born, and there's no actual history, written history from that time. So there's a couple of different theories. First of all, the Star of Bethlehem, which is in the Christmas story, was this bright star, and it could have happened when Venus and Jupiter came together to form one bright star in the sky in Bethlehem, which is a rare event and did occur in June of 2 BC. Another possibility is a similar conjunction in the stars between Saturn and Jupiter, which occurred in October of 7 BC. So there's options there. There's also a lot of speculation that Jesus potentially was a spring baby, which is based on basically like the culture and how people lived at the time. Because in the late spring of the year is when pregnancies that began in the fall after the harvests would have then been born. And then there's one historian, and there may be a couple, but there's one in particular who looked at astronomical, secular, and biblical records and actually pinpointed Jesus's birth very specifically, interestingly, on September 11th in 3 BC from exactly sometime between 6:18 p.m. and 7:39 p.m. The fact that they can do that with records is pretty amazing. So anyways, so why December 25th? Why is this like sort of on the opposite time of the year that potentially Jesus was actually born? Some believe that it was intentionally chosen by the church to align with winter solstice, and celebrating the light over the darkness really aligns with the idea of Christmas and celebrating Jesus and the light that he brought into the world. But also the other reason that historians believe December 25th was chosen was because it's exactly 9 months after March 25th, which is the traditional date that Jesus is believed to have been crucified. And Christians developed the idea that Jesus was conceived and crucified on the same day. And so that would be December 25th. So December 25th, that would be March 25th. And so then he would be born on December 25th. So that's the idea. So that explains why December 25th. Regardless of the history, December 25th is obviously when we celebrate Jesus's birth. If you're in any type of Christian or secular tradition that celebrates Christmas as a holiday. So happy birthday to Jesus. And birthdays usually, in my mind, celebrate the existence of someone. It's, you're saying, I'm so glad you were born. That's what I often say to people on their birthdays. So like, why are you grateful for this person? So why are we glad that Jesus was born? That depends. I think the general understanding of what makes someone identify as a Christian is that they believe that Jesus was the Son of God and died for our sins, and his existence and death saved us. That is a Christian identifier. And so Christians would then be celebrating the birth of the Son of God and being saved. I do not believe that. And some Christians don't actually believe that, which has been interesting for me to learn. I definitely know some people who identify as Christian and don't believe that. But I think that's a little bit more of an exception than a rule. I don't know. You tell me. I personally grew up Unitarian Universalist, and it's not necessarily a Christian tradition. It's very opening. It's open, accepting, there are people from all different religious faiths that end up in Unitarian Universalism, because it is really a place where a lot of the faiths come together, meaning that people can show up and be whoever they are. My dad always called it the church of anything goes, which was amazing. And we also did celebrate the Christian holidays more than others. So I learned later, probably like in my 20s, talking to a friend's dad who also was Unitarian Universalist in a different church, that he had been taught that you use believe that Jesus was amazing and that he was a healer and he was a prophet and he was here to teach us how to live and what is possible. And that, so then accordingly, Christmas would be a day to celebrate this incredible person who came and had divine connection and was able to teach us so many incredible things. And so I connect much more with that on Christmas, but it goes a little bit deeper. Excuse me. I don't believe in original sin. I want to be really clear about that. I do not believe that we need to be saved. I do not believe that Jesus and God are the same thing. I do not believe that Jesus was the Son of God any more than we are all children of God, that everything is a part of God. And I definitely don't believe that we need to be saved, as like in terms of heaven and hell and afterlife and our eternal salvation. I don't believe that. Over time, I've become much more interested in mystical understandings of religion in general. To clarify, so that I'm being clear here, mysticism is identified as the idea that humans can transcend physical existence and suffering, and be one with the universe or divine energy or divine connection in living form, that we can transcend and enlighten and be connected to divine energy. I do believe that. And so mystical Christianity in particular connects to the idea of Christ consciousness. And it's not just mystical Christianity, by the way. Christ consciousness is a concept that can be seen in many different religious traditions, especially in the mystical form. So in Christianity and mystical Christianity, the idea is that Jesus and Christ are two different things. So Jesus was the man, and it was the human form that was born into this world. And then Christ, him being Jesus Christ, is him being connected to and channeling what is called Christ consciousness. So Christ consciousness is, it's a state of awareness of our true nature, of being children of light, being children of God, our highest selves, and our birthright. It's our spiritual birthright as divine beings to be connected to that divine enlightened energy. And many believe, and I believe, that Buddha and Jesus were connecting to and channeling the same energy. They had different forms that came in, and we don't really know how. We know more about how Buddha attained enlightenment. Actually, we know less about how Jesus did. And then also that Muhammad, potentially from the Islam tradition, was also channeling this consciousness. So reaching this enlightened divine consciousness where you're really connected with divine energy and divine knowing and light, just you're turning into a light being. And, Jesus attained that, I believe. I was in a workshop at one point, and someone said, I think Jesus was a Reiki master. And I was like, that's actually really interesting. Because I think he was connecting to this divine energy that he had access to, and he was performing miracles. He was doing all these incredible things, but he wasn't here just to say, I am proof of God and I am going to save you. He was saying, I am proof that you have access to God all the time. And I am going to help you to see how to do that. I'm going to show you the way, right? And Christ was the one that was speaking when he said, I am the way, I am the light. And interestingly, actually, the Gospel of Luke, I've learned recently, is believed to be Christ talking and not Jesus. In some of the other gospels, they sort of overlap, but Christ specifically is coming through a lot in the Gospel of Luke. So if you're a Christian, you might be interested in that. So he was really here. Jesus came and was here. I believe that he was sent here, whatever that means, and attained this connection. He was a prophet and a healer, and he attained this connection and was able to transcend above physical existence. He was able to channel this light and became more light than human in some senses. So like the idea of walking on water, who knows if that's metaphorical, healing the blind. So making the blind able to see, that also could be a metaphor, like you're blind to what is real and now you can see what is true about your existence. You're a divine being, you're connected. But I think he was really here to show us that we can connect to Christ consciousness and live in connection with God. We can be the light, we can be the love. He was here showing us what is possible, and that's what makes him a prophet. And for me, Christmas is about us remembering that we're connected to that. It's about celebrating this awesome dude who came and showed us the way. But it's gotten really jumbled and confused in my mind. And so it's about us remembering that we are the light. It's about celebrating him and what he had to teach us, remembering what he had to teach us, but also reminding us that God is everywhere. It is in everything. It is in us. This light is within us, and he was here to teach us that. And that is so powerful. It's such an incredible message. And I do believe, this is going to be a little confusing, that Jesus Christ could be our savior, but not because we need to be saved from original sin, not because we need to be saved in the afterlife, but because, and this is true in a lot of different spiritual understandings, heaven and hell are right here on earth. Heaven is the experience of being deeply connected, of feeling connected to God, of feeling connected to everything that is living, of being connected to one another and connected to our highest selves. That is heaven. Hell is disconnection. It is being disconnected from ourselves. It's fear and shame and disconnection and anger and hatred and self-hatred and all of these things that disconnect us and our experiences of disconnection because we're just in our human form. We're in this human form disconnected from God. And when I say God, I want to be really clear. I am talking about divine energy. I am talking about the universe. I am talking about Mother Nature, the divine mystery, divine light, divine energy, whatever it is that is more than us, because I believe there is absolutely something more than us. And we have such potential to live in this state of heaven. It's not easy, right? And it's this continuous cycle of dark and light. And that's why it's all during this season. All of these holidays are about this interplay of light and dark and the ego and the soul self. That's what I call them. And so on Christmas, whether you celebrate it or not, if you're feeling about it, all these things, I know that Christmas can become a time that's about family, that's about gift giving, that's about connecting with each other. It can be about light, it can be about trees, it can be about whatever it is. But I really invite you to consider the idea that there have been teachers throughout time, and Jesus was one of them, who showed us how we could overcome the darkness by connecting to the light within us. And we are the light. We are living in such a dark time right now, and there is such disconnection. There is so much disconnection. And it is my deepest hope that somehow we as beings will learn to overcome some of the darkness within us so that we can bring light out into the world, so that we can shine the light that Christmas celebrates. And I am thinking of you. There is no judgment, no shame, nothing about what you believe. I am here. If any of this stuff is interesting, I would love to hear from you about it and hear what you're learning. And if you have thoughts, if you have other things that you've learned, I love learning. But no matter what, I just want you to know that whether you celebrate Christmas or you celebrate another holiday, I hope that you can celebrate the promise and potential of light to overcome the darkness. Merry Christmas, happy holy days, happy all the things, and I am thinking of you.